Welcome to another episode in our CEO series. I have here with me today Gordon Swaby, CEO of EduFocal. Gordon, say hi to everyone.
Greetings, everybody. Jermaine, thanks for having me.
Thank you for accepting our invite and being here. It's always a pleasure to speak with you. We are looking forward to the updates for EduFocal. This is your third interview with us, I believe.
It's third or second?
Third. Oh, this is our third time speaking on EduFocal. We did the review of your prospectus and we had an interview last year. So this is third, yes. So
Okay.
Second interview. But we are looking forward to the updates. And, before we get into it, I want to open with a brief word of prayer. So let's do that. Thank you, Lord, for this day. Thank you for the ability to produce wealth. We pray, Lord, that for everyone who watches this, they will be enriched. They will find great value in this discussion. We pray for your blessing on all the matters pertaining to EduFocal, its companies, customers, and everything that surrounds it, Lord. We thank you in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen.
Learning is the key to successful investing. And who doesn't want to invest in some way?
Here at L.E.A.R.N Grow Invest, we focus on financial education, all with the aim of sharing our knowledge on personal finance, investing, and building wealth. We do this on the foundation of our faith in God.
If a more holistic approach is what you need, check out our Grow Faith-based financial coaching program.
Find out more about us at learngrowinvestclub.com
and follow us on all social media platforms at L.E.A.R.N Grow Invest.
All right, welcome back, everyone. So again, we're here with Gordon Swaby, CEO of EduFocal Group. So Gordon, let us start with, this is actually a special month for EduFocal. You're about to be celebrating 11 years. So what does that mean for the company? What does that mean for you?
So again, thank you, Jermaine, for having me. We're this week actually. On Wednesday, we're celebrating 11 years. On Wednesday, we're also celebrating 1 year of being a listed company. So we actually listed on our 10th anniversary. For those who follow me closely, and maybe I don't tell the story often enough, but I did say publicly in 2012 that we would list in 5 years. But 5 years to the day was the actual public declaration. Did it in 10 years to the day. So that's 5 years off, but statistical error, give and take 5 years. Yeah, man. But it feels good. It's a company that I started at 21 years old, and it's certainly been a fulfilling, challenging but fulfilling journey.
So how would you describe the 11-year-old EduFocal?
Good question. I would describe the 11-year-old EduFocal as focused, clarity. So I'm using adjectives to describe where I see EduFocal right now. Focus, clarity, and the mission and vision is absolutely clear. I would say that we have a strong team. We continue to build and add, people that are dedicated to the mission and vision and that will advance the agenda with the expectation that not only will we see financial returns, but also to materially impact education and training in Jamaica, the Caribbean, and possibly around the world.
Yes, we'll talk about those the across the world part very soon, because we did see an announcement on the JC posted on Friday. So I'll ask you about that in a second. What about the team? How much has that changed over the last 11 years?
Wow. So we've moved from maybe 2-3 people to, I believe, up to today 52 people. So if you factor in contractors, and there are contractors that are part of the company that are regular contractors, as you call them, and then there's permanent staff. So permanent staff, it's around 25-26 people. Regular contractors, another 20 plus. So this is obviously the largest the company has been, both in terms of top line, bottom line, and headcount. So getting to where we've gotten to know in terms of releasing that org chart My new org chart on Thursday of last week was really, and I'm looking forward to talking about that more, because there's a lot to it. Was really us. No, I mean, I noticed that the press carried largely just the management changes themselves, but not the other things that would have articulated in it. So, for example, the fact that we're going to be hiring a COO, between now and the end of Q2. I can say that we've made a selection, and we'll definitely be hitting that target of hiring, the COO before the end of Q2 2023. So again, once we get to that point in our conversation, I'm looking forward to speaking about that some more. And the implications, the positive implications of that.
We'll get there, Charlie. The final thing I wanted to ask you about, just EduFocal, the company, is, what about its growth in customers and students you've served, the companies you've served? What has that progression been over the last 11 years?
I mean, we've moved from serving hundreds to hundreds of thousands. Is all I'll say. They not well known, but the business division of EduFocal, accounts for around 45% of our total revenue. And it's an area of the business, it's a division of the business that we're aggressively growing for 2023 and beyond. We've done business with Hartrust, NTA, we call Transport Authority, and BCIC as a client. We're responsible for the training and evaluation of every single PPV driver in Jamaica. So that was a big win for us, and again, we're looking forward to publicizing that even more this year.
Great. So, let's get into the changes in terms of the org chart that was posted on the JSE. So, you mentioned a couple of things, and I know you have something to share with us. So, feel free to go ahead and share that now.
Sure.
And I'll give you the chance to go through it, because what we want to do is understand the reasoning behind the reorg. And there was also a name that was mentioned, Dr. Anna Bethu would like to learn more about her role and what she represents for the company. So we're sharing now, so go ahead.
All right, so you're still seeing the screen, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay, great. So first, let's start with what is the EduFocal group? And what we say is that, we're redefining learning today for business tomorrow. Again, very deliberate with what we've said and how we're saying it. Creating platforms, content, and partnerships that will empower learners to develop skills and competencies that facilitate a promising future. We've also defined our mission and vision. So we leverage technology and expertise to educate people at scale, whether at school, home, or the workplace. And our vision is to help people to become the best version of themselves through training and education. We speak to our core values, which is collaboration, passion, impact, and transformation. And to the org chart. So, sorry, it's not moving on your side, right?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, feel free to scroll.
Yeah, I think because I have two screens, so I had moved it to the other screen just so I could see. 1 second, let me just share again.
Okay, no problem.
Give me a moment. 1 second. All right. Yeah, sorry about that.
All right. So we're seeing the org chart now.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so I'll start back very quickly. So, redefining learning today for business tomorrow, creating platforms, content, and partnerships that will empower learners to develop skills and competencies that facilitate a promising future. Our mission is to leverage technology and expertise to educate people at scale, whether at school, home, or in the workplace. And of course, our vision is to help people become the best version of themselves through training and education. Our core values are collaboration, passion, impact, transformation. So those are the values that we're guided by, and that helps in our decision making on a daily, weekly, monthly, annual basis. Now, this org chart took us months of, planning back and forth, contemplation, because we wanted to structure an org chart that we could scale up or scale down according to a program. But we also wanted to design the org chart in a way that we could report on the programs themselves. And you hear me keep using that word a lot, programs. So programs at EduFocal are what we call the revenue centers for EduFocal. So the programs that you're seeing here are the things in EduFocal that actually generate revenue for us on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. And it is structured in this way because we want to, or as CEO, I want to frame the conversation around the programs that we have, both the ones that we have now and the ones that we'll add in the future. So just to explain the org chart a bit, we have 4 departments: general administration, or CEO's office, as you want to call it. That's where I serve, with myself and my chief strategy officer, Dr. Anna Bethune. We have our operations department, or product department, which is led by my co-founder and CTO, Paul Allen. We have the finance department, which is led by Kian Hainsberg, as our consulting CFO. And going back to the operations department, what I would say, or would consider to be one of the most influential departments in the organization, the operations department, which is led by the COO, which I'm very excited to announce in the very near future. The operations department.
Any chance you can give us a name of that COO? Or
Good
how
question.
soon will we be able to be told?
All I can say right now, Jermaine, is that this person is somebody that is coming from a very large Jamaican conglomerate. Somebody that would come with a lot of experience and skills that will definitely drive the EduFocal group forward. On the note of the COO will be responsible for both the L.E.A.R.N and business division. And in the operations department, we have sub-departments. So you have the HR sub-department, the marketing sub-department, and so on and so forth. So, when I say to you, it's a particularly influential department, it's I'm not saying it as a joke. So you'll notice that particularly under the L.E.A.R.N division, we have segments. So the breakdown is divisions, segments, and programs, all right? As it is now under the L.E.A.R.N division, we have 2 segments: health education and K-12, K-12 education. Under the health education segment, we have 1 program, which is called VHSI Nursing Academy. So VHSI Nursing Academy focuses on training for nursing students. It's led by Tisha Vaughn. Started last year, doing extremely well. A lot of potential for growth. Again, we're expecting aggressive growth from VHSI for 2023. Under the K-12 education segment, we have EduFocal Academy, which is an online virtual school for students in grades 4, 5, and 6. We've been running that for a little over 2 years now. Clever School Teacher, which of course is an acquisition that we did in April 2022. Our primary exit profile exam. The primary exit profile exam is really what we're known for. So people, have been calling us a pep company for a long time. So the primary exit profile exam is centered around our platform itself. We create content, we offer live classes, live extra classes on a daily basis. And a big source of revenue for us, from the primary exit profile exam is our partnership with the Ministry of Education. So the Ministry of Education is a strong partner of ours. We've obviously seen a lot of growth in that program. But if we were to think back about the original EduFocal and you looked at it from this perspective, the only thing that you'd see on the K-12 education segment, if we had structured it in that way, would have been the primary exit profile program. So, now we've evolved, now we've grown, and we continue to grow, and we're diversifying our revenue. I'm very excited about the programs, the additional programs that we'll add this year. If you look over to the business division, you will see the corporate learning and business development and partnership segment. Corporate learning focuses, you're seeing a new addition here now, which actually was not in our release, EduFocal Engage, which we're rolling out this month. So EduFocal Engage is going to be a corporate learning platform where we create corporate learning content, and we work with organizations via a license. So they pay to access the platform. We're starting with the Data Protection Act. So that's all I see on that for now, but we're very excited about that. For example, under the business development plus partnership segment, we have a team that focuses specifically on partnerships that are not one-off, but partnerships that are recurring in nature, right? So the corporate learning segment tends to operate like an agency of sorts, while the business development and partnership segment is more focused on creating partnership opportunities with medium-sized and large businesses that will generate revenue for us on an ongoing basis. So, for example, our partnership with the Transport Authority would fall under that segment as a project itself. So, not a program, but a project.
Okay, I was gonna ask you. So, based on this chart that we're seeing here, will you be doing or speaking to what would that reflect in terms of your reporting, whether quarterly, annually? Will we be seeing maybe breakdown by segment, breakdown by division?
Absolutely. So the goal is to report, and this is what I'm pushing for. I'm not saying that it's a guarantee. At the very least, we'll be reporting it on revenue by segment. But the goal is to report on it by program. Now, there are changes that we have to make internally to facilitate this. But the idea is that, so, even for example, around average revenue per user, that may be applicable to, our primary exit profile program, but it may not be applicable to academy. Looking at it from analyzing it, it may not make sense. So this structure helps not only in terms of making reporting clear, both in terms of internal reporting, but also for our shareholders, allowing shareholders to track our progress or lack thereof, our performance in the respective programs in EduFocal. So the goal is to report. I'm not saying it will happen by the first quarter of 2023, but our goal certainly this year is to be able to report on revenue on a program by program basis.
Well, I think revenue by segment would still be powerful. It would give a baseline with which growth can be measured, right?
Absolutely.
So yeah.
So and Jermaine, I'll add too. People still see us as a pet company. A lot of people don't know that we're in the corporate learning business. I believe up to our third quarter report, which obviously is public, corporate learning accounted for around 40% or so of our total revenue. So it's actually a big division for us, and it's something that we're looking to aggressively grow for 2023.
Okay, great.
All right. So this goes a little bit more, this is a little bit more granular. So, obviously, in the C-suite, the respective C-suite officers report to me. Then we have the finance department, as I mentioned before, product operations, and good point to bring up, or it's a good time rather to bring up Dr. Bethune. Outside of her expertise, so Anna actually joined us last year. Tomorrow will make 1 year since Anna has been with us. A lot of people don't know that our Chief Strategy Officer, Dr. Bethune, is based in Lagos, Nigeria. The African continent, the African market is a market that we've been interested in for a very long time. So one of the things that, aside from her background in education, her PhD is in learning sciences, one of the things that really attracted us to Anna, and making that hire was the fact that she's based in Lagos, Nigeria. One of her remits is new business. She's been based in Lagos for about 4.5-5 years now. And I think that we're finally at a place where, very soon we can announce to the public opportunities that we've been working on in Lagos, specifically where she's based. So again, I'm very excited about sharing news on that in the very, very near future. But it's been a work in progress, and I'm extremely excited. And that's the power of an online learning company, the power of a tech company. While expanding into any new territory is work and requires some tweaking, it is certainly easier for a company like ours to expand into new territories while leveraging tools and content that we've previously developed when compared to, say, a brick and mortar company like, say, a bakery, right? If you're expanding a bakery, you'll need to build up physical operations on the ground. You'll have to hire a lot of people. That's not necessarily the case for us, right? So, again, I'm extremely excited about sharing the news around that in the future.
Is that a model that we can expect to see similar to what you have with Dr. Anna For example, because it makes sense to have someone on the ground if you're hoping to expand in a particular territory. Is that what we can expect, if we have an EduFocal Guyana or EduFocal, Bahamas? Is that something that we may see?
No, absolutely. I mean, if you look at, for example, Hugo's model for expanding in Jamaica, Hugo had one main person on the ground here. Not my line of business, but just kind of showing you an example. So Hugo had one main person on the ground, and they're using the same software in different territories around the world. If you look at a Facebook is Facebook regardless of where you are in the world, but there are certain parts of the world where Facebook is localized, right? And depending on the kind of growth that Facebook is experiencing in a particular area, geographical area, they may decide to dedicate more resources to that particular area. And if they're not seeing the kind of growth, there's always the ability to pull back. That's the kind of growth that we're going for, identifying the opportunities in the respective territories, and having a key person on the ground that can actually, focus largely on marketing, business development, and sales for the EduFocal group, which of course accrues to the benefit of EduFocal Limited, the publicly traded company here in Jamaica.
Okay, great. So since we're on the topic, we were looking forward to an update on Clever School Teacher. How have things been progressing with that company? Any comments there?
So just to be clear, Clever School Teacher is the brand that we use, but so it's cleverschoolteacher.com obviously, but the legal structure is actually EduFocal LLC. So EduFocal LLC is registered in Wyoming, and EduFocal LLC owns the assets of cleverschoolteacher.com, because that transaction was an asset purchase agreement, not a share purchase. So we purchased the assets of the company, not the company itself. And those assets were placed under a newly created subsidiary at the time called EduFocal LLC, which is 100% owned by EduFocal Limited, the publicly traded company. But just in terms of daily operations, day-to-day, the structuring of it, if you, again, reflect on the org chart that I showed you, would see that it falls under the L.E.A.R.N division and under the segment K-12 education, because our primary exit profile program falls under the same segment because we focuses on students in grades 4, 5, and 6. Similarly, Clever School Teacher focuses on K1 to 2. We actually just rolled out the new, and maybe I can share my screen here again. Actually, just rolled out. Yeah, man. So we're very excited about, and while it seems very trivial, it's a big part of our growth plan. See my screen, right?
Yes.
Yeah, man. So we just rolled this out. The new, the new platform for cleverschoolteacher.com. I find that it's far more palatable than what was there before. This has taken months of work, from copy to, and obviously this is the external aspects. There are a lot of things that happen internally in terms of the categorization of content and so on and so forth. When we bought Clever School, and I mean, we think we bought it at a 3 or 4 PE. It was experiencing churn. So our first order of business was to slow, and then eventually stop churn. Well, you can't stop churn, but to slow churn significantly, which we've been very successful at. So I want to give kudos to our program lead, Mark Gale, on getting to that path. Now, where we are focused on it, so Clever School has our own. I guess I'm showing the numbers now, but I'm not sure.
I was just about to ask anyway.
Yeah, but Clever School has a little over 300 subscribers across the 3 plans. Is all I'll say on that for now. Clever School is such a big part of our growth plan, and a business that can seem like an overnight growth, but it won't be an overnight growth because we're actually putting in strategies in place to ensure that we experience the growth in the timeline that we expect to experience it. So, it's not impossible, for example, for Clever to move from 300 plus subscribers to 2,000 or 3,000. at an average price of say $30 or $40 a month, right? That's not impossible, and it's certainly not impossible to achieve that within the next 6 to 12 months. I'm not saying we'll achieve it in the next 6 to 12 months, but a massive part of our growth for 2023 and beyond. It won't be the largest revenue earner for us, obviously. It won't be the largest revenue earner for us this year based on our projections, but certainly, within the next 12 to 24 months, we expect it to play a significant, or add a lot to our top line and to our bottom line for the EduFocal group.
Okay. So you mentioned the word projections. I'll ask you those at the end if we can get any of those. But for now, I wanted to go through some of the community questions that were submitted.
Sure.
So we had an interview with you a few months back. You mentioned a few things. So you mentioned a partnership. Well, actually, we saw a release as well about the partnership with Jamaica Library Service. How has that been progressing? How is the rollout and adoption been?
Good. So I have to be careful about my wording here, but because we can't let out our secrets, But we're very excited about our partnership with the JLS. A lot of people don't know, but the JLS of any government entity has the largest physical footprint of any government organization. Over 300 locations island-wide. We currently use the JLS from an operational perspective for the evaluation of the PPV drivers, right? So, as I mentioned before, our partnership with the Transport Authority is both online training of the drivers. So just to give some background, every PPV driver, and you notice I use the word PPV, not taxi driver, because PPVs are not just taxi drivers. It's also the JUTC buses you see around, right? So any red plate, every red plate driver in Jamaica is required to have a taxi badge. No, I won't say obviously, but compliance is not 100%. It's well over 50,000 drivers. But we're working with the Transport Authority on increasing the number of drivers that are compliant. And again, we expect to make a big dent on that this year. So the training is done at tappvtrain.com. The drivers sign in with their so that's our platform. The drivers sign in with their TRN number and their receipt number. Then once you're in the platform, you can go through courses that we've developed in partnership with BCIC and the Transport Authority. It focuses on customer service. It focuses on good driving habits and so on and so forth. Prior to us, this was done in person at TA locations across the island. You had to, the drivers had to sit in a room, go through slides. Now it's done exclusively online, and the exam itself can be done at any JLS location island-wide. So that was our first major initiative with the JLS. From a good corporate governance perspective, we also plan to revitalize a lot of the JLS locations island-wide, starting with their main branch on Tom Redcom. Planning on starting with that. So redoing redoing a particular section of the library, painting, air conditioning, so on and so forth, with our partners. But I'm excited, again, very excited about our partnership with JLS. We can do a lot in this space that is going to be mutually beneficial. Literacy programs, financial literacy programs. So we're very, very excited about the role that JLS will play in our growth at 2023, and also the value we will continue to add to the Jamaica Library Service. So they're a strong partner of ours.
Based on the number of locations you mentioned, the work that you'll be undertaking as well, when can will the work be done in phases? Is there a particular timeline you're expecting to complete all this renovation? Is it the end of 2023, end of 2024? Like what can we expect in terms of completion of the renovations, and then impact in terms of what it is expected to accomplish?
So I feel like you're asking a two-part question, Jermaine. There's the good corporate citizen component, which redounds to the benefit of all of us as Jamaicans. Of course, you have to remember that we're still a small company, very, very small company. So a lot of the work that we're doing will be in partnership with other entities, and we'll make an announcement very soon, so within the next month, about a key partner for that renovation and the timeline for, obviously it's a lot of libraries, right? So we'll start with the main branch libraries, and then we'll take it from there. I will definitely say that for the Kingston location, the painting and the air conditioning and so on and so forth will be done this month. So we have a goal to get that finished for this month. And that's what we've communicated to the Jamaica Library Service. So that's work in progress. What was the other part of the question?
So just to have an understanding of, based on the number of libraries that exist, is this going to be like a 3-year project, 5-year project, 10-year project? Like, when can we expect for like the phase of renovations to be, completed? And then the second part of the question was, when can we expect to start tangibly seeing the impact? Not necessarily talking about revenues from it, but what you're hoping to accomplish from it. When can we start expecting there to be, value added to those who we are planning to serve?
Okay, excellent question. So our partnership with JLS is a permanent partnership. This is not a 5-year, 10-year partnership. As long as EduFocal, which I hope is forever, as long as EduFocal is a growing concern, JLS will be a partner of ours. You've actually planted a seed in my head. Maybe we should actually have a public, timeline for what we're doing with the JLS and when we're going to do it. So that's something that I'm committing to getting done. In terms of, for this particular interview, I don't want to speak to timelines, but again, certainly for the Kingston location and that commitment that we've made, we'll be following through on that. In terms of these locations being leveraged for EduFocal's purposes and for the purpose of the JLS, again, you hear me talking about financial literacy programs, you hear me talking about literacy programs. I always say that before you can be financially literate, you actually have to be literate. And everything kind of comes together, right? On that note, you'll hear me talk about EduFocal not as a pep company, not as a learning company. And again, I'm very deliberate with the words that I use, right? EduFocal is a training and education company, and everybody needs training and education. I'd say that the last component of that for us is certification. So certainly, I believe for example, there's an opportunity for us to get into the certification business. The path to get there, I won't comment on publicly. But we did talk about an acquisition, last year. I'd say that we're still in talks for a major acquisition, and I'm hoping that can happen within the next. I'd say within, very soon.
So that actually was one of our questions. You did mention an acquisition expected near the end of 2022. Is that the acquisition you're just alluding to being announced soon?
Absolutely. And we expect to close that acquisition in Q1 2023.
Okay. All right. So just a couple more questions here. You had 200. I want to be sure I got that figure correctly. $200 million loan with Mayberry. How were those funds utilized? Has it had the desired impact to the business?
Absolutely. So that was for general purpose. So the loan was not for any acquisition, and I believe I've stated that before. It was for general corporate purposes. We had other very, very expensive debt that we had to retire, which we've now retired. Let me not say much more on that, but the loan has served its purpose and the terms were exemplary. So kudos to the DBJ and Mayberry for that loan. So because the loan came through DBJ, but it was facilitated by Mayberry. The interest rate, exceptional interest rate considering the environment that we're in. I believe it was, don't want to quote myself wrong, I think it's 9.5% for the first 2 years fixed. Let me actually just quickly check just to confirm. So yes, 9.5% fixed for the first 2 years, and then after that it's variable. But I don't see us keeping that facility for another 2 to 3 years.
Okay.
I expect us to possibly retire the facility within the next 24 months or less.
Okay. All right. Let us. So I was gonna ask in terms of funds remaining from that. So you mentioned it was mostly for business use. Is there anything what do I want to ask is there anything else you're hoping to accomplish with that you have not yet done?
The answer I'll say, or the answer I'll give for that is, whatever other growth opportunities we're looking for, we're looking to derive that from the collection of our receivables. That, let's be honest, our Q3 numbers were not sexy. I was very, very disappointed about our Q3 numbers, and from the start of 2023, from the start of 2022 to up to the third quarter, you'll notice that we had to have impairment and had impairment happening up to Q3, and that hit our numbers significantly, right? If you look at our Q1 numbers, you saw that impairment was big, and if we never had that kind of impairment, profits for that quarter, for example, would have been anywhere between $15 to $20 million. So I'd say that up to Q3, it was a challenge. I can't speak to Q4, but certainly I'm extremely excited about 2023. I think that the worst is behind us. I think that everything is aligning and has aligned, in the way that we want. And I'm looking forward to sharing some of our numbers over the next couple of weeks.
Okay, when can we expect those numbers for Q4?
Q4 numbers full year 2022 by the end of this month. So by March 31st, as we would have communicated publicly.
Okay, great. All right, so in terms of, you mentioned in your prospectus, and you kind of alluded to this when you're going through the reorg document, but I'll ask it for completeness because it was asked by a community member. In terms of numbers that you shared in terms of average revenue per user, based on the reorg, I don't anticipate that you'll be sharing that again because you said the plan is to report by segment.
Yeah, so we can share ARPO for specific programs. So we'll likely share ARPO for Clever School Teacher. We'll likely share ARPO for the Primary Exit Profile program. There are certain, and again, I hope you can appreciate, German, why the reorg was so important, because we kind of outgrew the vehicle that we were driving in. I really can't articulate how important the COO hire is for us. For me, as CEO, one of my I'd say one of the things that I'm strong at is business development, sales strategy. I'm extremely good at closing sales for EduFocal, and I think I know that our COO hire will add a lot of value in terms of daily operations. And again, you'll see based on the structure that he or she will be responsible for the different revenue centers in terms of ongoing operations. But I want to remove myself from the daily operations of EduFocal. I don't want to be in the business. I want to be focused on the business, right? Focused on our group, focused on our expansions, or expansion rather. And there are a lot of opportunities from Lagos, Nigeria, to Guyana, to Trinidad, to Bahamas. There are a lot of opportunities. We have competitors with who have big partnerships in other countries, and certainly they're not just opportunities for them, but opportunities for us. So again, I'm extremely excited about the next couple of months for EduFocal.
All right. So in terms of, let's talk about a little bit more about those same opportunities, right? Because we pretty much know we can expect to hear something relating to, you mentioned Lagos earlier, so we are anticipating we'll get an update there. But in terms of expansion for EduFocal across the world, what does that look like? Which territories can we expect? Are there any new maybe opportunities in terms of products or services you're hoping to offer that has not yet been created? I'll pause here because I realize sometimes I'm layering questions within questions.
Yeah, so start again with the first one.
Yes. The first one, can we expect any new territories to be added to EduFocal within the 3 to 6 month term?
Yes.
And then, well, let's start there. Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Then we
We
look
do
forward to
expect
hearing those.
possibly within the next few weeks.
Okay. Any idea as to where we'll be hearing it from? Can you share that at this point?
No, I cannot share it.
Okay. Are there any new products being developed that you are hoping to help with that expansion?
Yes, absolutely.
Anything that you can share on that at this point?
So what I'll say is this, Jermaine. There are a lot of things that we would have hoped to have rolled out in 2022 that we did not get to roll out in 2022. They were delayed for various reasons. So the bevy of announcements that we'll have over the next couple of weeks and months, some of them very major announcements, are not overnight opportunities that we've been working on. These are things that we've been working on for months that just happen to be coming out at the same time. So that's all I'll say on that. But again, maybe when we have these announcements over the next couple of weeks, they might be worth bringing me back on the program to talk about.
Sounds good. All right. So in terms of, so you did mention, and you've alluded to it a couple of times, and so I figured that it'd be an opportunity to ask about it. So your prospectus mentioned financial education. You mentioned financial education a couple of times here. We've yet to see an announcement about a financial education initiative through EduFocal. Is that something we can also expect to hear about for this year?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Any idea as to how would they? Any idea as to how it will take shape? Is it, or at least which segment would it fall under based on the chart that we saw?
So it would fall under the L.E.A.R.N division. We'd create a new segment called financial education, and the program would of course have a name. But I can safely say at this point that it would be a national financial literacy initiative, a multi-year national financial literacy initiative. On that note too, Jeremy, I want to say that when you think about EduFocal and training and certification, it's important that people not think about us as a company that is serving just children. We're focused on all learners from as early as a couple months old to to the end of your life, to the end of your working life. Because if you really think about it, learning never ends. Learning happens the day you're born. Learning happens while you're obviously in school. Learning happens when you're in the workplace, and we want to touch that learner. We want to touch learners at every stage of their of their journey. That really is the big mission for EduFocal. We want to be able to certify learners who may not have been certified, who have the knowledge but may not have been certified through traditional means. So it's important.
So it's a financial literacy certification program. Is that?
No. So I actually moved on a bit. From the financial literacy.
Okay.
What I was saying is, when we roll out financial literacy, we're not necessarily just targeting children. We'll also target adults. So my point is, if you look again at the org chart and what we're doing, the path is actually very clear, and it was very well articulated in our prospectus. We are focused on every learner. And if you look at the data that we're collecting on different learners at different stages, there's also opportunity to leverage that data for commercial benefit, right? There's opportunity to leverage that data for the benefit of that individual, learner. So, again, it's something we're extremely excited about. We're playing the long game, and we think that there's no other organization in this region, in this world, that is better positioned to have the kind of impact that we can have, particularly in Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean and possibly in Africa, over the next 3 to 5 years.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. So we're going to take some questions from our community members now. I want to definitely thank everyone who has been posting their comments in the chat. O'Neill is asking, has EduFocal Biz growing as expected?
Yes, absolutely. It's it's a division that we're very very much bullish on for this year. I expect it to account for more than 50%. I expect revenue from our business division to account for at least 50% of our revenue this year.
Okay. Phil is asking, is Clever School Teacher applicable across the USA and/or our region?
It's applicable in the USA, and it's actually also applicable in Jamaica, just in terms of the content itself. So the content of Clever School can be leveraged locally in the early childhood space. And that's something that we're looking at, but we're not actively pursuing at this moment.
Okay. Shellyan is asking, how is Clever School Teacher currently being marketed to US residents? Did those subscribers, those 300 that you mentioned, exist prior to the acquisition? How many new subscribers have you acquired since the asset purchase agreement?
So I can't speak to the amount of acquisitions at this moment. In terms of just I don't want to have this cut into a snippet. I can't speak to the number of new subscribers for Clever School since acquisition, but that's definitely something that we want to be able to publish in our upcoming reports, because we believe in transparency. We believe that it is information that our shareholders can use to make informed decisions.
Okay. All right, Fitzroy is asking if you can provide an update on the potential acquisition that you are eyeing. I believe you mentioned that you answered that already. So Fitzroy, I'm not sure if you missed it. So
we're looking to close. We're looking to close the acquisition before the end of this financial quarter, which has 2 weeks left.
Okay. All right. Akeem is asking, will you be selling any L.E.A.R.N shares soon?
No, I've never sold any shares. I only buy. I'm currently in blackout, but as soon as our numbers are published, I will obviously no longer be in blackout, and I will be buying EduFocal shares. But Akeem, if you're interested in buying EduFocal shares, there's a lot of shares available for purchase at this moment.
Okay.
Again, disclaimer, I'm not saying he should purchase. I'm saying that if he is interested, just based on the question that was asked.
Yeah, it wasn't a recommendation. You're just letting him know that shares are available. So no disclaimer required there. So Sean is asking if there are any dividends to be expected in the foreseeable future.
So if you look back at our prospectus, I believe we did say that we have no intention to pay any dividends in the foreseeable future, but that policy can obviously change. So I'm guided by my chairman, Peter Levy, and the entire board by extension. But hey, I'm the largest shareholder in EduFocal. I'd love to pay a very large dividend in the near future. But I don't, I'm not saying that that's going to happen in the near future per or prospectus.
Okay. Shellyan is asking, well, she says PEP is JA only, right? Anything for the other Caribbean primary schools? Also, was anything said about CXC or A-level? So that's like 3 questions in one.
So yes, PEP is Jamaica only. Yes, we are looking at opportunities to obviously offer content and our platform to other schools across the Caribbean. We're not actively pursuing those opportunities right now, but again, it is on our radar. And 3 also was anything said about CXC and A-levels. CXC is also on our radar. When we actually launched EduFocal, we started with CXC in terms of CXC content, and it is an area that we're expecting to get back into aggressively soon.
Okay. Fitzroy is very happy about the financial literacy initiative. I know I can tell you guys, I've asked Gordon about this for months. I'm waiting just as you guys are waiting for that update.
I'm waiting too. I promise you, I'm waiting too.
Yeah, Akeem is asking, what kind of partnership can we expect to see between L.E.A.R.N, Grow, Invest, and EduFocal? What kind of question? What kind of question is that, Akeem? I can say that. I was gonna say I can say that definitely the first partnership I'd hope to see is our earnings call partnership. That is something that we believe would be of great value to EduFocal shareholders. But we'll see. Anything to add to that, Gordon?
No, I mean, listen, I think you have an amazing platform, Germany. You guys have done extremely well. I'm proud of you guys. And, I'm looking forward to collaborating with you guys in any way that we can in the near future. It is important to support the community.
Yes, agreed. All right, so next question from Fitzroy. How long does it take to develop a program after signing with a client?
It depends on the scope of work. I mean, I'd say we tend to close our projects anywhere between 2 to 3 months. The business development aspect of it, though, can take quite some time, especially if it's a fairly large project. And we have worked on projects that are worth $45 million in the past, just a single project. So it varies from customer to customer, or from client to client, rather. And this is specifically on the business side.
I'll add to that question. We can kind of consider every project being unique, right? Because EduFocal empowers or enables the learning, but each customer may want something different. So
correct. And again, Jermaine, the distinction between project and program is different. A project has an end date. A program does not. Right. So when we refer to things as programs, they're not projects. More often than not, if we're doing something for a client, it's a project, not a program.
Yeah, I imagine that he was speaking about project though.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for that. That's definitely clear. All right, so Sean is asking, why is Clever School Teacher better than platforms such as YouTube, Udemy, Skillshare, etc.?
So great question, Sean. Clever School, and I'll read verbatim what Clever School offers. Clever School is lesson planning resources for teachers. So it focuses on games and worksheets that cover reading, writing, phonics, geometry, and more. They're compliant with the common core standards, which is an important standard to be compliant with in the USA. Clever School produces over 25 original activities for teachers. And we also produce guided lesson planning resources. So for that's an insane amount of value for any teacher in the US. Starting at $24.95 a month. Obviously we have competitors in the States, but the early childhood marketing in the USA is massive, and what is small growth for a US based competitor is massive growth for us. So when we can move a Clever from 300 plus subscribers to 1,000, you can obviously understand that's the significant growth for Clever, and it's a high margin business. You're talking about 80-85% margin. So hope that answers your question. YouTube obviously is a resource for teachers, but we don't see them as competitors to Clever. We see it as something that is complementary. So there are competitors. It's just that YouTube would not be one of them.
Yeah. All right. Shelly-Ann reminded us that we didn't answer her question. So how is Clever School Teacher currently being marketed to US?
Okay, sorry about that. So Clever is being marketed. So our growth strategy for Clever is focused primarily around search engine optimization. So that is how we'll be growing Clever. So a lot of blog posts, and that strategy is well underway. So just in terms of the growth strategy for Clever, that's a big part of it. And we think that we'll see results of that over the next couple of months from those efforts.
Great. Orville is asking, what percentage of market share does EduFocal have locally?
So we're one of. I can't speak to market share if I'm being completely honest. It's actually hard to measure data. Data can be sometimes hard to come by, but certainly there are not a lot of competitors in the e-learning space. I'd say that obviously EduFocal is one of the biggest providers, and I'm not going to be calling any competitor's name, but certainly we're up there. But I'd say in terms of the overall market, there's still so much room to grow. We haven't even really scratched the surface yet. Most people have never heard of EduFocal. Even though we're a listed company and so on and so forth, you'd be surprised. A lot of people have never heard of EduFocal. And I see that as an opportunity for both the business division and our L.E.A.R.N division.
And I mean, new potential clients are being born every day. So it's a business that is quite untapped. So
absolutely.
All right. So Mike J is asking, how is data privacy managed by the US subsidiary?
Great question. So we don't collect a lot of data on the teachers, first name, last name, email address, school. That is secured, and it's not distributed or shared with any third party. And of course for the third party services that we use to power Clever, for example, mailing list, they would have their own policy around managing that data. In terms of how payments are processed, it's done with Stripe. Stripe is very well known, very well respected. So it just based on how Clever operates, we try and collect as little data as possible, and we certainly aren't sharing that data with third party providers. Yes, and if a customer is no longer interested with subscribing to Clever, once they unsubscribe and delete their profile, then we no longer have any record of that.
All right, next question is from a community member asking, would you partner with RADA to create agricultural classes?
Yes, absolutely. So, we're looking to partner with as many entities as possible, from, as long as we can get the kind of scale that we want. I'm saying yes because, I'm not a farmer and I'm not very familiar with agriculture in Jamaica, but I know that we have a lot of farmers, and I know that, RADA probably does have some form of learning, and it's likely very much physical. And I'm happy you brought that up. Well, I don't know who brought it up, it says committee question, but I'm happy whoever brought it up, because there are massive opportunities to partner with organizations, both private and public, to develop learning content and to provide learning platforms to facilitate their training and education internally. Whether it's security guards, whether it is insurance providers, everybody needs some form of training and education, and EduFocal is here to serve and deliver.
Great. Next question: have you considered an EduFocal mobile app?
Yes, we have, and it is coming soon.
Soon, 2023 soon, or?
Soon, within the next 12 to 24 months soon. So again, I've said it before, there's a lot coming that will feel like, we're doing everything in one go, but certainly we've been working on a lot of things for a very long time. It just so happens that a lot of things will be happening at the same time.
Okay. All right, next question. Are there any plans to expand to secondary or lower grades?
Yes.
Person didn't give context. Okay. And final question that we have is, what are the different programs currently and what is expected to change? So you went over the current programs. So I believe the person would be interested here to understand, I guess, how that may look different.
So let me just bring that back up. Give me one moment. So yeah, so we have VHSI, which is accessible at vhsiacademy.com. It's a program for nursing students who are sitting their exams locally, led by Tisha Vaughn. We have EduFocal Academy, which is located at edufocalacademy.com. It's an online virtual school for students in grades 4, 5, and 6. We have Clever School Teacher, which is located at cleverschoolteacher.com. It's lesson planning resources for teachers in the United States of America at the kinder level. And then we have the primary exit profile program, which is available at edufocal.com. Focuses on live extra classes, past paper questions, and learning videos for students in grades 4, 5, and 6, and that is 100% free to the students and 100% sponsored by the Ministry of Education. I mentioned on the corporate learning side, EduFocal Engage, which we're rolling out this month, starting with the Data Protection Act as a course in partnership with a third-party entity, which I won't mention right this moment, but we'll announce that soon. In the business division, we offer corporate learning content creation, so for organizations, whether public or private. And we also offer a corporate learning platform for organizations. So that's the totality of our services right now. We'll eventually, within the next couple of weeks, possibly roll out a new segment called financial education, And we will be rolling out a national financial literacy program over the next couple of months, certainly within the financial year 2023. So that's what I can speak to for now, but certainly we'll have other updates soon.
Okay. All right. Sean is asking, what if any user testing is done to ensure that what the teachers want is exactly what they get, i.e., what are the needs of the teachers put at the forefront of the app?
Mm-hmm. So you'll recall an education director hire sometime late last year. That falls under the remit of our education director, Tianka. So efficacy is something that we're continuously looking into and producing valuable reports, not only for the Ministry of Education, but for the stakeholders themselves. So again, a work in progress, and we hope to make significant headway over the next couple of months. I keep saying it, but I'm talking here and I'm saying to myself, well, we have so many things to roll out for 2023. And I genuinely am excited about the kind of performance that we'll have for 2023 and beyond, obviously.
Right. And Shelly's asking if you can add that chart to your website under the investor tab. The website doesn't provide much info on the business side. I believe there was an update to the website recently, and I believe maybe changes are still in progress, Gordon. I know there's an EduFocal site now. Yeah,
there is EduFocalGroup.com. So the notice was published on the JC website with the org chart, but we'll definitely be updating the EduFocalGroup.com website soon, both in terms of the management changes, but also reflecting the new org chart. In fact, we're rolling out a new EduFocalGroup.com website soon. I'd say before the end of April.
Okay. All right, great. I believe those are all our questions. Thank you so much, Gordon. I'll ask you to give any final remarks. Again, congratulations on 11 years, all the success of
Thank you.
EduFocal, yourself. Oh my gosh, I'm remembering that there's a question I did not ask you. Please forgive me. A community member wanted to know how you are doing. How are you? How's the family doing, etc. My apologies for not asking.
So, well, there was a first question that you asked. Remind me of that first question.
I was gonna ask. So you
final remarks.
How you're doing?
Yes.
And then.
So, firstly, let me just, the bottom of my heart, thank our shareholders, especially our long-standing shareholders. We know that many people are in and out of the stock. But we know that there are others who are, and this is not me knocking, investors who choose to sell. Certainly, what should be most important, or your most important priority, is actually your money, and getting return on your money based on your own goals. But I'm excited and I'm happy about the shareholders that continue to hold and accumulate EduFocal stock. I think today is the lowest it has closed in a while, or possibly ever. I think we closed at $1.95 today. And I'm a little bummed that I can't buy right now, because certainly I'd be buying at $1.95. That's one. Two, thank you for asking, for whoever asked that question. I'm doing extremely well, but I'm also extremely tired. I'm a father of one, and I guess some people know, but my wife is expecting, so we are expecting another child.
Congratulations.
So the family, not only does the EduFocal family continue to grow, but my family continues to grow. So I'm heads down, focused on growing the company, giving value to our shareholders, and just keeping myself busy. It's a big year, and just based on this 1 hour conversation that we've had, you can imagine that we have a lot of things that we're working on. Yeah. So.
All right. Great. So thank you so much, Gordon. All the best. We look forward to those updates. We look forward to a great year from EduFocal, and just congratulations for all the things that are to come.
Thank you for having me, Jermaine, and thank you to the L.E.A.R.N Grow Invest community for joining in this discussion. And I'm looking forward to joining again soon in the next week or two.
All right. All right, sounds good.
All right,
Thank you.
everybody. Take care.
All right, guys, thank you so much. If you missed this, if you're watching this on a replay, be sure to leave your questions for Gordon in the comments below. We'll forward them to him. Gordon is also in our Telegram group, so he's someone that you are free to tag anytime and ask your questions. I want to definitely thank Gordon again, and just for coming and sharing those updates. You can hear from his final words that you can expect to see more updates from Gordon and EduFocal team, so stay tuned for those. I'll leave it there for now. Thanks to everyone for watching, and I'll see you in the very next video.
Learning is the key to successful investing, and who doesn't want to invest in some way?
Here at L.E.A.R.N Grow Invest, we focus on financial education, all with the aim of sharing our knowledge on personal finance, investing, and building wealth. We do this on the foundation of our faith in God.
If a more holistic approach is what you need, check out our Grow Faith-based financial coaching program.
Find out more about us at learngrowinvestclub.com
And follow us on all social media platforms at L.E.A.R.N Grow Invest.